What if the reason your plants are struggling isn't because you're doing it wrong, but because no one ever showed you the little fixes that make all the difference? Let's walk through 10 gentle solutions for the most common container garden problems, the kind that quietly ruin your joy. Until now, Granny Joan's been gardening from her patio since her knees gave out. She thought her green thumb was turning brown until she learned these 10 tiny garden rescues. Problem 1. Droopy plants that never perk up. Have you ever walked into your container garden, hoping to see lush, thriving plants, only to find them slumped over like they've given up on life? It's disheartening, especially when you're watering them regularly and doing your best. But here's the twist. Too much love might be the culprit. The most common reason plants stay droopy despite your efforts is root rot caused by overwatering. When roots are soaked for too long, especially in pots without proper drainage, they begin to suffocate and rot. No matter how much sun or fertilizer you give, a rotting root can't support a healthy plant. Actionable fix. Gently pull the plant out of its pot and inspect the roots. Healthy roots are firm and white. Mushy, brown roots are a red flag. Ensure your containers have drainage holes. Water should drain freely, not pool at the bottom. Never let water sit in saucers under your pots. Always empty them after watering. Think of your plant like a friend. Sometimes, it needs space to breathe. Overcaring can do more harm than good. Learning when not to water is just as vital as knowing when to give more. Stay tuned. We'll walk you through 9 more container garden problems, and they're simple, satisfying solutions. Your plants can bounce back, and so can you. Problem 2. Leaves turning yellow. There's nothing more confusing than watching your once green, thriving plant suddenly shift to yellow. It feels like you're doing something wrong, but you can't quite figure out what. You water it, talk to it, even gave it that fancy organic feed. So why is it still looking sad? Here's the truth. Yellowing leaves are your plant's way of waving a white flag. And more often than not, it's because we're loving them a bit too much. The number 1 cause? Overwatering. When roots are constantly wet, they lose their ability to breathe. And the leaves, their messengers, begin to yellow. Another silent thief? Lack of sunlight. Without enough light, even the best-fed plants can't photosynthesize properly. Actionable fix. Cut back on watering. Try watering only when the top inch of soil feels dry. Gently move your plant toward a brighter spot, but do it gradually to avoid sun shock. Remove yellow leaves to help the plant redirect energy to new growth. Sometimes, loving something means giving it space. Plants are resilient, but they also need balance, water, light, and a bit of patience. Have you ever loved your plants too much? Share your biggest garden goof in the comments. No judgment here. We've all been there. You're not alone. Gardening is a journey, and every yellow leaf is just part of the story. Keep going. Keep growing. Problem 3. Soil that feels like brick. Ever tried to poke your finger into the soil only to be met with resistance? Like you're tapping a concrete block? If your container garden's soil feels hard, cracked, or compacted, your plants are literally suffocating. And just like us, roots need to breathe too. When soil becomes dense and crusty, water can't flow properly, and oxygen can't reach the roots. It's a slow struggle that often leads to stunted growth, droopy leaves, or even plant death, no matter how much you water or fertilize. The fix? Give your soil a breath of fresh air. Granny Joan used to call this fluffing the pillow, and it stuck with us for a reason. Just like a pillow needs fluffing to stay soft and supportive, your soil needs loosening to stay healthy. Actionable steps. Mix in cocoa coir, compost, or peat moss once a month. These natural materials improve drainage, retain the right amount of moisture, and keep the soil light and airy. Gently stir the top few inches with a fork or hand rake. Don't worry, the roots will thank you. If you're repotting, never reuse hardened soil without conditioning it first. Think of your plant's soil like its mattress. Would you want to sleep on a rock? Neither do your roots. A little monthly care can mean the difference between life and limp. Healthy roots equals happy plants. Fluff that pillow, your garden deserves it. Problem 4. Water runs right through. You grab your watering can, give your plant a good drink, and whoosh. The water shoots straight through the pot and out the bottom. The soil stays dry, the plant stays thirsty, and you're left wondering, what just happened? Here's the truth. When potting soil gets too dry, it becomes hydrophobic. That means it actually repels water like a raincoat. Instead of soaking in, the water escapes down the sides, leaving the roots gasping for moisture they never received. It's a common mistake, especially during hot weather or when we've forgotten to water for a few days. But don't worry, you're not killing your plant. The soil is just panicking, and like any panic, it needs calming. Actionable fix. First, pre-wet the topsoil with a spray bottle. This helps it relax and accept moisture. Then, pour water slowly, in small amounts, giving the soil time to absorb. For severe dryness, submerge the entire pot halfway in a bucket of water for 10 to 15 minutes. Let the soil rehydrate from the bottom up. Think of your dry soil like someone who's just had a scare. You don't dump a bucket of advice on them. You slow down, breathe, and gently reintroduce trust. Same with watering. Granny Joan says, thirsty soil panics. You have to calm it down. Don't give up. The soil's just forgotten how to drink. With a little patience, it'll remember, and your plants will thank you. Problem 5. White crust on soil or pot. Ever noticed a strange white crust forming on the surface of your container soil or clinging to the rim of the pot like chalky snow? It might look harmless, but it's a red flag your plant's environment is out of balance. That white layer is salt or fertilizer buildup, and over time, it can turn your soil toxic. As water evaporates, minerals and salts are left behind, gradually concentrating in the soil. This can burn roots, block nutrient absorption, and stress your plant, even if you're watering and feeding regularly. Actionable fix. Gently scrape off the white crust using a spoon or small trowel, being careful not to damage roots. Flush the soil once a month with clean, room temperature water. Think of it as a detox bath for your plant. Pour water slowly until it drains out the bottom to wash away excess salts. Cut back on overfeeding. Fertilizer is helpful in small doses, but too much is like giving your plant junk food every day. Just like our bodies can get overwhelmed with too much sugar or salt, plants can get overwhelmed by buildup too. Sometimes they need a reset, a fresh start, and it begins with a simple rinse. Your plant doesn't need more. It needs balance. A little cleanup, a little flush, and your leafy friend will breathe easier. Problem 6. Tiny bugs everywhere. You go to admire your plants, and suddenly, movement. Little bugs scurry across the leaves and soil like uninvited guests at your garden party. It's unsettling, maybe even a little gross. And worse, those tiny pests? They're silently draining the life from your plants. Whether it's gnats, aphids, or spider mites. An infestation in container gardens is common, especially indoors or in warm, damp conditions. But don't panic. With a few natural tools and a touch of consistency, you can take back control without resorting to harsh chemicals. Actionable fix. Mix neem oil with water, 1 teaspoon per liter, and spray the plant thoroughly, top and underside of leaves. Or use a gentle soapy water spray, 1 teaspoon mild dish soap per liter, to smother soft-bodied pests. Add a few garlic cloves to the soil. The strong smell deters many insects from sticking around. Granny Joan's tip. If it smells like spaghetti night, you're doing it right. The garlic may not win any perfume awards, but it does tell bugs they're no longer welcome. Bugs happen. They don't mean you're a bad gardener, just that nature is doing its thing. And just like setting boundaries in life, setting them in your garden brings peace. Your garden is your sanctuary, and you have every right to protect it. Gentle, natural, consistent action is your best weapon. Keep fighting, your plants are worth it. Problem 7. Roots coming out the bottom. You lift your pot, and, wait a second, what's that poking through the drainage holes? Yep, it's your plant's roots, escaping like they're trying to make a run for it. It might look funny, but your plant isn't trying to flee. It's crying out for help. This is a classic case of being root-bound. When a plant has outgrown its pot, and the roots have nowhere else to go, they circle around the base, twist tightly together, and start to strangle themselves. Left too long, the plant stops growing, wilts easily, and eventually gives up. Actionable fix. It's time for a new pair of shoes. Choose a pot about 2 inches wider than the current one. Carefully remove the plant and loosen the roots with your fingers. If they're tightly wound, gently untangle them to help the plant stretch out in its new home. Repot with fresh, airy soil, water well, and let it settle. Think of it like this. You wouldn't squeeze into shoes 2 sizes too small and expect to dance. Your plant's roots are trying to grow, move, and breathe. All they need is a little room. Granny Joan always said, when a plant's bursting at the seams, give it space to dream. Growth isn't just upward, it's downward too. Repotting isn't just a chore, it's an act of love. Problem 8. Plants tipping over. You come outside after a gusty afternoon, only to find your favorite plant sprawled out sideways, soil spilled, leaves crumpled, and pot knocked over like a fallen soldier. It's frustrating, even heartbreaking, especially when it keeps happening. Some plants grow tall and top-heavy, while others are placed in lightweight, or narrow pots that just can't hold their ground. Add a bit of wind or uneven watering, and boom, down they go. But don't worry, this isn't the end of your container garden dreams. Actionable fix. Use heavier pots. Clay, ceramic, or concrete are more stable than plastic. Already have a lightweight pot you love? Place bricks or stones in the bottom before adding soil. This anchors the plant and adds weight without sacrificing style. Group pots together in clusters. They'll protect each other from the wind and create a microclimate that helps retain moisture. Sometimes, plants tip because they've outgrown their base, just like we do in life. We rise, we stretch, and sometimes we wobble. But a stronger foundation helps us stand tall again. Every fall is a lesson. With the right support, your plants, and you, can rise again stronger than before. Problem 9. Mold on the soil surface. You lean in to check on your plant. And there it is, a fuzzy white layer coating the soil, like it's wearing a wool sweater. At first, it's just a patch. Then it spreads. Panic sets in. Is this dangerous? Did I kill it? Take a deep breath. That fuzzy stuff is soil mold. And while it's not always deadly to plants, it's a sign something's off. Too much moisture, poor airflow, and sometimes a bit of overloving care. Here's what's happening. When moisture gets trapped under mulch, or when the soil stays damp for too long without drying out, mold spores, which are naturally in the air, find the perfect place to thrive. Actionable fix. Gently remove the moldy top layer of soil and any mulch or organic cover that's holding in moisture. Increase air circulation, space out your plants. Place them near a fan or breezy window and avoid crowding. Let the soil dry out before watering again. Mold hates dry, well-ventilated conditions. Think of mold like a little reminder that even plants need to breathe. Sometimes, we're so focused on caring that we forget to give space, and space is where healing happens. Granny Joan used to say, "Too much cover keeps the truth from breathing." Mold isn't the end. It's just a whisper that says, "Let me breathe." Listen to your soil. Your plants will thank you for it. Problem 10. Plants growing leggy and weak. Your plant is growing, but something's off. It's tall, thin, and floppy, like it's reaching for something just out of grasp. The leaves are sparse, and the stems bend under their own weight. You gave it soil, water, love. So why does it look like it skipped leg day? This is a classic case of light starvation. When a plant doesn't get enough sunlight, it stretches, reaching, straining, trying desperately to find the light it needs to survive. The result? Weak, leggy growth that topples easily and lacks vitality. Actionable fix. Rotate your pots weekly. This ensures all sides get equal light exposure, encouraging balanced, sturdy growth. Pinch back the top few inches of new growth with your fingers. This signals the plant to grow sideways, creating a fuller, bushier shape instead of stretching upward. And if possible, move the plant closer to a bright window or outdoors for a few hours of direct light each day. Plants, like people, need the right environment to thrive. Without enough light, they overreach. But with just a small shift in direction, they can grow strong where they stand. Give your plants a little spin, a little trim, and a whole lot of light, and watch them grow not just taller, but stronger. Granny Joan used to think she was too old to fix anything, until she fixed her garden. And her confidence? It bloomed again. If this helped you, give us a like. Share it with a friend who gardens with love. And subscribe to the Evergreen Seniors. Because growth doesn't stop, it just gets wiser.